are no stranger to volcanic and seismic hazards in the Caribbean, especially in Dominica. In 2004, we had the 6.3 magnitude earthquake that destroyed some infrastructure in Portsmouth and North. And we have 9 live volcanic centers in our 751 square kilometer area, giving us one of the highest volcanic densities in the world. As a result, seismic and volcanic hazards is a top priority at ODM, and we take monitoring for these hazards quite seriously. Now, we have partnered in the past and we continue to partner and work with the Seismic Research Center of the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine campus in Trinidad. And over the past 2 weeks, they have been here installing some new seismic stations and upgrading some of the existing seismic stations on island, all in an effort to increase and enhance volcanic and seismic monitoring on the island. Right now we are at the site, a new seismic site in Oja, Salisbury, and we have Mr. Lynch from the Seismic Research Center and Mr. Pollard also, who have been working with a team of technicians to help construct the site. So now they will take you through and explain to you the design of the site and how it functions.
This particular project was funded by the European Union, a facility they call Interreg, that's aimed at promoting public good in border regions of the European Union. So for this particular project, the Seismic Research Center at UWI, St. Augustine, partnered with the IPGP. We partnered, submitted a proposal that was successfully funded, and under that proposal, 8 new monitoring stations have been installed in the Lesser Antilles to improve not only the tsunami warning and alerting capabilities, but also to improve the monitoring infrastructure that's in place to study and understand better the natural processes of volcanism and earthquake occurrence. A little more about this station. It's one of 4 that's installed in the English-speaking Caribbean. The other 3 were installed at Mount Pleasant in Carriacou, Bethesda, Antigua, Bissau, St. Lucia. We normally choose sites that are very quiet. To detect weak earthquakes, you need to be in a quiet location, away from the breaking sea, which is a source of noise, away from the nearest town, which is also a source of noise, away from major roads. So this is a sort of an ideal site. One of the instruments that will be placed at this site, it's not here yet, is a GPS tracking reference station. That will be added in maybe the next 3 weeks. It will be annexed to this particular site, maybe just over the fence. GPS tracking reference stations monitors ground strain, and earthquakes are really caused when the strain builds up in the Earth's crust and you have sudden releases of this strain that manifests itself in strong shaking. So that's the third of 3 instruments that will be placed on this site. Unlike the older type of instrumentation that were installed in the Eastern Caribbean before, these instruments are more or less state-of-the-art. State-of-the-art from the standpoint that they will literally pick up every type of ground motions, and this is necessary for tsunami monitoring. Tsunamis are usually generated by what we call slow earthquakes, and slow earthquakes are those that whenever they occur, a large part of the energy is in vibration that we normally do not feel. That's because the vibration is slow, but it's slow and packed with enough energy to cause large slabs of the Earth's crust to uplift or subside. And if this happens under the sea, then that's when you can have tsunami generation. Let me just show you the other components on the site. There are two sensors inside here. The really sensitive one is underneath the box. It's a seismometer, broadband seismometer. This small one on the edge there, that's the strong motion accelerometer. That's the one that records very strong earthquakes without going off scale. In the box here, just underneath these two pieces of wood, that's the electronics for amplifying the ground motion and converting it to a format that can be fed to the satellite transmitter. Like I said, the seismic sensors detect the ground motion. Inside the vault, we also have electronics that amplifies the information coming from the sensors and sends that information to the satellite Earth terminal that you're seeing over there. This uploads the data to 3 receiving points: the Seismic Research Center in St. Augustine, as well as the volcano observatories on Martinique and Guadeloupe. The entire system is powered with a bank of solar panels, which is on the southern side here. The system runs from about 35 watts of energy. The solar panels are sized in such a way that the system can continue to run if we have 2 weeks of very bad weather. In seismology, timing is very important. All data that's collected has to be time-stamped. So this device up here is a small GPS antenna that timestamps the data with time, which is a few microseconds accuracy. The information that's sent out to Guadeloupe, Martinique and St. Augustine is also relayed to the Puerto Rico Seismic Network, which is the institution within the Caribbean that has the best capability to assume the role of tsunami warning network. Currently, that function is being provided on an interim basis by the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center. The tsunami warning system that we're striving to have in the Caribbean will be a regional institution. So you'll have contribution from various stakeholders within the monitoring circles. All the seismic monitoring agencies have made commitment to put in installations that have met minimum standards such as this, and they will upload data to the Tsunami Warning Center. So like the Venezuelans, they have about 5 or 6 stations that contribute to the effort. In Colombia, about 5 or 6 stations. Puerto Rico, several stations. ISU, the institution that monitors earthquakes in the Dominican Republic, they have about 3 stations. Jamaica, Costa Rica, and so on. So it's a regional community effort. Also, for a tsunami warning system, it's necessary to have a response component. If you have a warning center that issues messages such as bulletins or alerts or even warning, you must have a system in place for the at-risk community to take the appropriate action. So within the community that's building the tsunami warning system, there is a work group responsible for preparedness, and that work group has been working with agencies such as the ODM to identify at-risk communities and make sure that the information or systems in place to disseminate such alerts to the communities at risk is functional. So for example, Mandela and his group had a workshop for alerting common alert protocol for the Portsmouth area, which is one of the at-risk community. Similarly, there is a working group that's responsible for identifying the hazardous areas in terms of low-lying areas where there's likely to be a lot of runoff. And once this is done, work is done with the local community to identify evacuation routes and things like that. Install alarms or systems to interrupt broadcasts to alert the at-risk population.